Alright. What it do?
What it do, baby?
Yeah, you already know.
Attachment styles, and we'll be talking a bit about attachment styles in relationships and how our attachment styles were influenced by our parents. Yes, it is a psychological, evolutionary, and ethological, right, theory concerning relationships between humans. So you get 4 different types of attachment styles. Secure being the first one. Secure attachment styles. This person can trust fairly easily, is attuned with their emotional being, can communicate upsets directly, leads with flexible behaviors within the relationship. That's what you aim for
up here.
Then there's anxious preoccupied. This person has a sensitive nervous system, struggles to communicate needs directly, and then tends to act out when triggered. So you make your boyfriend jealous, you know your girlfriend's text, even though you know you should probably really reply, that type of behavior. Then number 3, avoidant dismissive. I have a problem with these people. I got into it. Number 1, downplays importance of relationships. Number 2 is usually extremely self-reliant and can become more vulnerable when there is a big crisis. Then there is avoidant fearful. This person is more dependent in relationships than avoidant dismissive, but they strongly fear rejection. They have low self-esteem and has high anxiety in relationships.
Okay. 4.
What are your attachment styles? Or what is your dominant attachment style?
Mine is anxious. I am not really. And I guess I did the test, found out I'm anxious. Obviously, I do relate to some of the other ones. I think dismissive avoidant is another one that I do relate to when I hear more about it. But my dominant one is anxious, and that one stems off like when you're growing up and a parent figure is overprotective, or if they sometimes leave a lot, like if they leave you, not necessarily in a bad way, but they probably working away, work out of town or something, and you don't understand why that's happening because there's a little bit of lack of communication as to why they have to do this. So then it does affect children. So I guess after I found out I'm anxious, I did some research, realized that, and I realized because my mom, when I was younger, she used to, still till today, she travels. I think my earliest memory of my mom leaving, she was working in Mutare. It's another city in Zimbabwe. Before I understood what was going on, it's just my mom going. And then coming back, I don't know if it was weeks or months. For me, it felt like years because I was also young. So like concept of time, not really a thing. So she would go and then come back, and then shortly after she comes back, she has to go again. And it always used to be so confused, like, where are you going? Why are you leaving me?
Yeah.
Obviously, so not bashing it or anything. It was work. Parents had to hustle,
Yes.
They had a family, so it had to be done. But as a child, you don't get that. I only got that when I was older. I was like, no, this was for my benefit and stuff. So I guess her leaving affected me more than I knew it did. I remember her actually coming back with a little doll that said sorry. I still have it. So it was a thing, and I don't know. I guess it really hurt when she'd go. I think that was it. I think it would just hurt, and I didn't know why she was going. I guess my attachment style then became, I felt love through that longing to be with someone. Yeah, so it's not the best, but like I guess you can also like not necessarily change your attachment style, but you can work towards bettering it and moving towards being more secure within your attachment style. I wish there was more communication around that because no one would really talk about it. Or maybe they did and I just didn't
completely understand.
Exactly. So there was a lack of communicating to have me understand when I was a child. So you can communicate something, I think, but you also have to make sure that the person understands what you're communicating.
Especially when it's a child.
Especially when it's a child, because you can say 1 + 1 is 7, and they'll be like, okay, it's 7, but you need to explain why is it 7 and not 2. You know?
Mine is fearful, avoidant, and anxious, preoccupied. So it's that thing of I see the good in others, but I don't see the good in myself. And I think that also comes from a lack of words of affirmation growing up. I think it would be there for things like school. You're doing so great at school. Well done. You know what I mean? And then because of that, then I always strive to be the best at something.
Yes.
Like I'm gonna be the best at this and this and this,
You
so that I can
quantify your worth.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I can hear good things about that one thing that I'm really good at. Yeah. And it's hard to explain. So I grew up in a household where it was me and my little brother, and then also my 2 cousins who were both girls, and there was certain ways that were all spoken to. So especially with the girls. So with the younger ones, there was a lot of, you're so pretty, you're so you look beautiful, you're a princess, you're that and that and that and that. So it was very much based on their appearance. Whereas with me, or their personality traits, oh wow, your personality just sparkles when you walk in, or you light up the room when you walk in. When you laugh, everybody wants to laugh with you. So it would be very based on the person they were. Whereas with me, it would be, oh, you're so smart, you're so good at acting, you're such a good writer. So it reinforced this idea of I'm good at
things.
Yes, I'm good at.
And you're not good.
I'm not good. It was never a, wow, I light up the room when I walk in. Wow, I make people laugh. Wow, I'm a bit of a diva. You know, it's little things like that. It was like, it wasn't a compliment to the person. It was a compliment to the things that they were able to do. And because of that, my self-esteem was revolved around what I could do as opposed to who I was. And that's where that trait of I see the good in others, but not in myself came from. So when I was sitting still, where I wasn't working, and there wasn't things going on, then it would be like, why are these people around me?
Yeah,
they're gonna leave me. Oh my God, they're gonna reject
with the same people.
To have these conversations as well.
Yeah, I think it's also important to have conversations with your children about relationships.
Yes.
In general.
Oh, you can't emphasize that enough.
Yeah, because some of us ended up just diving in there, and then we just dive into the wrong. We dive into a swamp, and then what?
I think it also goes with, I think personally, even with my parents, vague statements did more harm than they did good. The no, you can't, without explanation, without a conversation, where you give instruction without detail or clarification of why you're giving the instruction. Don't date. Don't hang out with those type of friends.
Why?
But explain.
Even those statements, birds of the feather. You know, if you show me your friends,
I'll show you.
Tell me what do you see with my friends, instead of just telling me, you know. There's a difference between telling your child, don't touch the stove, you'll get burnt.
Yes.
You've told them what they shouldn't do. You've told them why they shouldn't do it. But then when you just say, don't touch the stove, what's that? A child. How? I'm curious. I'm not even a child right now, but I'm curious. I'm like, why can't I touch it? Is there a pot of gold? Is there candy on the stove?
And be as detailed as you need to be.
Yes.
Even when you communicate with your parents.
Be as detailed as you can be. Make them understand
what you're saying.
Talk to them like you're talking to a child. I think we all need to talk to people like we're addressing a child sometimes.
Who needs clear understanding of what you're saying.
ABC, instead of just like even using jargon, large words, and trying to... No, don't sound smart. Tell them the actual problem.
Yes.
If 1 + 1 right now is 7, I need it to be 2. And I think we need 2 by subtracting. Okay?
Okay, mommy.
That's what we need.
But
okay.
what are we subtracting, mommy?
We're subtracting 5.
Okay, mommy. Why are you subtracting 5 on me?
We're subtracting 5 because the answer of 1 plus 1 equals 2, and right now we have 7. So we subtract 5 because the 5 are unnecessary.
Okay.
So the 5 are not needed right now.
Okay, so then we need the 2.
We only just need the 2.
Okay.
We just need me and you.
Got it!
Now, okay, because you know all of these things.
Yes.
How your parents, how your mom specifically actually influenced your attachment style, and how it turned out. How do you then nurture your inner child to then become more secure?
It's a good question.
Wow, that's a great question.
And I just want to have, I just want to have conversations with my mom, get to know her better, get to know what I missed, get to know, okay, that time when we were going to Mutare, what was going on? Because I don't understand. Tell her memories I have that probably define that time period for me.
Yeah.
So that I, fill in these blanks that I'm just like, where do I go wrong? Because I feel like after I fill in those gaps, I'm able then to feed my inner child and then find a way forward to move towards being a more secure attachment style.
I'm gonna just jump into mine.
Cool.
I think I had to start nurturing my inner child because I felt like there was a very long period where there was a major disconnect between my father and I. There was a very long period, a few years, where I felt very disconnected from my dad. And it didn't really seem like a big deal to him, but it was a big deal to me. And that's the thing, we all experience the same thing very differently sometimes.
Yes.
And I think in that time I was forced to nurture my inner child. And for me it was simply just I guess feeding myself all the things that I wish they had fed me. So spending more time learning how to take care of myself in terms of my outer appearance, how I liked to look, what made me feel good, what type of clothing made me feel good, what type of clothing didn't make me feel good. Did I like to shave? Did I not like to shave? If I did like to shave, then put more effort into shaving so I feel good. Then tell myself, your legs are so smooth. You have such great legs.
Gorgeous.
Great.
A young goddess, if you will.
Yes, yes. I think also the camera helped me a lot with that. I think I discovered and nurtured my inner child a lot in front of the camera. And it would be things that wouldn't even relate to what was going on, but it would just be how I communicated with myself after the fact and during the fact. And even sometimes before the fact, where it'd be like you're worthy of the space, you're worthy to be here, you're beautiful, you are talented, you are smart. Yes, that is very good compliments.
Sis does this to me. Telling you now, she nurtures my inner child. I think I'm joking. I have a jar with notes.
So I had to do that for myself before I was able to do that for other people as well. Yeah, go out, take myself out on coffee dates. Just dress up, do some makeup, hair, and then be like, I'm taking you out because you just like bomb, bruh. Come, let's go. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna dress up for you. Let's go. I guess I had to be my own parent as well. I had to hold myself through a lot of trauma. I had to take myself to the places that I needed to go. Therapist office. I was there by myself.
Really?
I held my own hand and I was like, let's go. We're going. You have to go. Small things like that. Yeah, I had to parent myself. My mom since I moved to Cape Town, which was 4 years ago, in 2017. she's been very involved in my growth. So I feel like I have a more secure relationship with her now. Whereas before, I also had the thing, my mom was intimidating as hell. I was like, girl, just intimidating as hell. And
I think it's a thing mothers and daughters actually go through often. I don't know how that gap is formed actually. It's weird.
But I also had that thing where I was raised by my grandmother majority of the time because they were also still hustling. Guys, we are the generation that was born to hustlers.
Yeah.
We genuinely are those kids.
Because we watched our parents hustle, like, okay,
cool.
Even us, we must hustle.
Even
we're
us,
always hustling.
let's hustle.
We're always hustling.
But I'm gonna say this now. Sometimes you gotta really think before you have kids during your hustle.
I know this. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna leave that there. We can come back to that topic another day.
Yeah.
But so they were out hustling and I was with grandma, and then I was not with grandma anymore. And then that was also just like a very jarring experience where I was like y'all are cool and everything, but I kind of want to go back. What are you guys doing? That was also very jarring. So our relationship needed that bridge to be closed first.
Yes.
So we could like walk over it, whatever. I don't know if the bridge analogy made sense, but you get what I mean.
This feels like therapy.
Yeah. What attachment styles do you attract?
Ra-ta-ta-ta. Ra-ta-ta-ta.
I know I want to attract a secure one. If you're out there, baby, I need you. So I attract the avoidant, dismissive person. Person that kind of shrugs me off, really, or downplays relationships, the importance of relationships. Then I have to now justify and validate that, which is terrible. It doesn't feel great, because then you end up, instead of just validating the relationship, now you're validating yourself, and then from validating yourself, you're validating your self-worth.
Yes.
And then it just becomes a cycle of you trying to just validate everything that you are and your being, and which is not what you want. You don't want that. You want that.
What we're aiming
Yeah, and I guess avoiding dismissive is also, the types that will only become what you need or what you want when there's a problem. And then when there's no problem, they back to being themselves, So like, brink of you're about to break up with them because they're not acting right. Then they act right, instead of just acting right because you are a human being that needs to act right. So I have a history of attracting people like
says,
that.
don't be a sorry nigga.
Yeah. What attachment style do you attract?
I think previously I also attracted avoidant, dismissive.
Yeah.
I think, and it would, the funny thing is I'd get bored of it very quickly. Very, very, you can't hold my attention with that shit. I like chasing initially for like a week. Then afterwards I'm like, you're full of shit. And I'm out. And I'm out. When I said I do not have time for nonsense, I don't like playing games unless if they are well-intentioned games.
Are we saying 200?
We are at 200.
Are we saying 200? Surely. If you guys haven't gotten this to 200, then you're lying. Well, our very dedicated
followers.
We love you. We love you.
You guys have been at it, and we love you.
So thank you guys for joining us
here at In-House Conversations
with Michelle Juru
and Tava Brashat. Bye, pandas and butterflies.
Fighting to keep us together, hope it's worth the drive. You ain't always been an angel, but heaven's on our side. I got my demons too, I know just how you feel.